Before the merchandise, the memes, and the morning cartoons, RoboCop was chaos in a chrome shell. Test audiences walked out, censors panicked, and the lead actor nearly melted inside the suit. These are 20 wild facts about RoboCop, and the bonus? It's classified, and absolutely unhinged. This isn't just another 80s action flick, it's boardroom satire, rubber suits, and broadcast news with a body count. Proudly brought to you by Omni Consumer Products. Fact number 1. The RoboCop suit nearly broke Peter Weller on day 1. Imagine showing up to set, pumped to play the most advanced law enforcement machine of the future, and 5 minutes later, you're sweating. Blind and about to pass out. That's exactly what happened to Peter Weller. The original RoboCop suit weighed over 40 pounds and took nearly 11 hours to put on. Once inside, Weller could barely move, let alone act. The helmet fogged up, the arms locked mid-pose, his body overheated. At first, the crew thought he was rehearsing some kind of robotic meltdown. But the man was just trying not to collapse. They had to shut everything down. The studio flew in a movement coach from New York just to teach him how to breathe in the thing. And the slow, haunting movements we all remember? Those weren't planned. They were the only way he could function. In a film full of malfunctions, this one turned into magic. Fact number 2. ED-209 malfunctioned so hard it almost injured the crew. You remember ED-209, the walking tank with the voice of a fax machine and the grace of a vending machine. But behind the scenes, that thing was a nightmare. The full-scale prop was massive, clunky, and completely unpredictable. During testing, it suddenly powered up and started moving unplanned. A servo jammed, the arms jerked, sparks flew, people dove out of the way. One crew member said, "It was like watching a refrigerator come to life and get angry." After that, nobody stood near ED-209 unless absolutely necessary. They even rewrote scenes to shoot around it. So the next time you laugh at ED-209 tripping on stairs, just remember he nearly took someone with him. Fact number 3. The boardroom death was so graphic it almost got the film banned. You remember the scene. ED-209 malfunctions and that poor exec gets lit up like a 4th of July parade. Originally, the sequence lasted over 20 seconds. Blood squibs going off non-stop, body convulsing in slow motion. Test audiences were horrified. The MPAA? They gave it an X rating. Not once, not twice, 11 times. Verhoeven had to trim the carnage bit by bit just to get an R. And even then, it was barely acceptable. The uncut version lived on in bootlegs and fan tapes for years. Because in 1987, that scene didn't just push the envelope, it shredded it with automatic fire. You've seen that scene a dozen times, but what you didn't see, the actor didn't even want the job. Fact number 4. Ronnie Cox regretted taking the role until he saw the cut. Ronnie Cox, best known at the time for playing decent salt-of-the-earth types like in Deliverance, wasn't thrilled when he read the RoboCop script. The idea of playing a cold-blooded corporate shark didn't sit right with him. He didn't get the tone, didn't see the layers, but his agent told him, trust the director. So Cox said yes, reluctantly. And then he saw the rough cut, and everything made sense. The satire, the chaos, the twisted brilliance. He later admitted, it was the best villain I ever played, maybe the best I ever could have played. Turns out, even the cast didn't fully understand RoboCop until they saw it come alive on screen. Fact number 5. Peter Weller got fired mid-shoot, then rehired. In the middle of production, everything hit the fan. The suit was unbearable, the schedule was tight, and Peter Weller was clashing with the director. Tensions peaked, and the studio let him go. Fired, just like that. Can you believe it? They scrambled to find a replacement and started testing other actors. But after 2 days of footage, it was obvious. Something was off. The timing, the weight, the presence, it just wasn't RoboCop. So they called Weller back. No press release, no apology, just back in the suit. Well, except for the poor guy who thought he had the part. The face of RoboCop almost changed forever, and the movie might have gone with it. Fact number 6. RoboCop's gun was custom made and nearly illegal. The Auto 9 wasn't just a cool sci-fi prop, it was built from scratch. The filmmakers needed something intimidating and futuristic, so they took a Beretta 93R, added a massive custom shroud, and extended the barrel. The result? A sleek, chrome hand cannon that looked like it came from a dystopian police lab. And it actually worked. The gun fired 3-round bursts. The recoil was brutal. The sound? Deafening. Peter Weller had to train for weeks just to draw it smoothly from the leg holster. The crew nicknamed it the Cannon, and every time it went off, people flinched, even with earplugs. And just when they got the walk right, the robot dog started misfiring. Womp womp. Fact number 7. ED-209's roar was a mix of animals and machinery.
You now have 15 seconds to comply.
The sound team didn't want ED-209 to sound like a machine. They wanted it to sound angry, so they layered in bear growls, lion snarls, a chainsaw, and a malfunctioning car starter. Then, they filtered everything through analog distortion until it felt like something that shouldn't exist. ED-209 didn't just sound scary, it sounded wrong. Like Detroit built a war machine out of zoo parts and vending machine parts. Fact number 8. RoboCop was nearly shot by real police. While filming in Dallas, Peter Weller stepped outside in full costume, without clearance. He walked down the street for a quick break, and someone called the cops. Officers arrived thinking it was a man in riot gear with a weapon. Crew members had to intervene fast. Weller said he didn't take the suit outside again, because nothing says method acting like almost getting arrested in chrome armor. Fact number 9. I'd buy that for $1 came from a forgotten novel. That iconic line wasn't written just for the movie.
I'd buy that for $1.
It was inspired by Surreal Kornbluth's 1950s sci-fi novel, The Marching Morons, where future citizens speak in dumbed-down catchphrases. Verhoeven turned it into a recurring gag, part sitcom, part social decay. The actor, S.D. Nemeth, ad-libbed most of his delivery. Nobody expected it to become a pop culture catchphrase, or end up on t-shirts 30 years later. Come on, you know you owned one. Fact number 10. The arcade game was more violent than the movie. In 1988, RoboCop hit arcades, and it was brutal. Players could shoot criminals through walls, punch through glass, and blast enemies into pixelated pulp. Parents complained, kids lined up. The gameplay was stiff, but it looked like the movie. Kind of. Irony? Most people played the game long before they were allowed to watch the film, because nothing says family entertainment like blowing up a pixelated drug lab after school. Fact number 11. The news anchors were real TV journalists. Those cold, plastic-smiled anchors on Media Break? Not actors, real journalists. Lisa Gibbons was a former Entertainment Tonight host, and co-anchor Mario Machado had covered the Olympics and presidential elections.
And the president's first press conference from the Star Wars orbiting peace platform.
Verhoeven cast them because of their polished delivery. He wanted the news to sound calm, even when announcing chaos. The result? News segments so eerily real, audiences weren't sure whether to laugh or flinch. It wasn't just parody, it was a mirror. And if you thought that was unsettling, the next fact made censors sweat bullets. Fact number 12. The toxic waste scene almost got cut. You know the one. Henchman crashes into a vat of goo, melts and moans, then gets obliterated by a car like a bag of slime. Grotesque, hilarious, unforgettable. And it nearly didn't make the final cut. The studio panicked. Too much, they said. But Verhoeven fought to keep it. To him, it was body horror with a point. Chaotic commentary on decay and corruption. It stayed, just barely. Now, it's one of the most iconic scenes in the film, even if it still makes people squirm. Fact number 13. RoboCop couldn't fit in the police car. The suit looked great, but moved like a fridge. Weller couldn't bend, sit, or twist, so every time you see RoboCop driving, pure movie magic. They'd shoot him getting in, cut, and then film him already inside, usually stuffed in with foam and frustration. Sometimes, they had to modify the cars just to get him out. On screen, he looked unstoppable. Off screen, he needed a pit crew to exit a sedan. Fact number 14. Verhoeven tossed the script. Paul Verhoeven read 5 pages and chucked it. Too loud, too pulpy. His wife rescued it. "Look closer, it's satire," she said. He gave it another shot and saw it. A sharp takedown of media, greed, and outsourced humanity. He signed on and unleashed the madness. Fact number 15. Kurtwood Smith improvised the blood spit. During the gas station scene, Boddicker gets punched, then spits blood at the camera. That wasn't in the script. Smith improvised it. The crew almost cut, until Verhoeven yelled, "Keep rolling!" It was brutal, darkly funny, and totally RoboCop. A throwaway moment became pure menace. Fact number 16. RoboCop toys were pulled from stores. After the R-rated hit, toy companies pounced. RoboCop figures, chrome guns, even a roaring ED-209. Then came the outrage. Parents asked, "Why are we marketing acid melt carnage to kids?" Retailers pulled shelves. Commercials vanished. For a brief moment, RoboCop became America's most controversial toy. But kids still loved him. Fact number 17. Other countries butchered it. Germany, Australia, the UK, they all censored scenes. Boardroom shootout, trimmed. Toxic waste, gone. Some versions even cut RoboCop's final shot. Over 3 minutes lost in some countries. The irony? A movie about censorship, got censored. Fact number 18. RoboCop was Frankenstein in armor. Writers borrowed from sci-fi and Shelley. A man rebuilt by science, forced to serve someone else, fighting to remember himself? RoboCop even moves like Frankenstein. Stiff, heavy, haunted. Verhoeven said this wasn't about revenge. It was about identity and reclaiming humanity. Fact number 19. Weller had to re-record nearly everything. The helmet muffled everything. Mic interference ruined takes, so Weller had to re-record nearly every line in post. In a booth, syncing every breath, pause, and phrase to match the machine. That iconic voice, built in layers. RoboCop wasn't just acted, it was engineered. Fact number 20. The final line wasn't in the script. That final moment, "Nice shooting, son. What's your name?" "Murphy," was a last-minute reshoot. They had action, satire, spectacle, but no soul.
"Nice shooting, son. What's your name?"
Murphy.
So they added one line, a quiet smile, no music, no explosions. Just a name, just a man remembering who he was. Bonus fact, RoboCop almost had a jetpack in the first movie. Producers considered giving RoboCop a jetpack. Yes, even in the first film. There were concept sketches, test models, and early effects work. But the budget said no, and Verhoeven called it too much like Buck Rogers. The idea resurfaced years later, in RoboCop 3. But let's be honest, some things should stay on the drawing board. So, if you love getting behind the helmet, hit like, smash subscribe, and tell us in the comments what fact made you laugh, flinch, or rewind. Because in a world of safe scripts and studio polish, only one film gave us satire, steel, and soul, and made us believe a machine could remember his name.